gotta roll with Kid and
Great morning, everybody. Grand Rising. Good to have everybody along for the ride. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. Looking kind of off on my picture here, but it's okay. I'm excited. It is another day for us to be able to get it in and have a great time. I don't know about you, but it's Friday. Got a lot on tap for this weekend. A lot and a little bit all at the same time. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm just feeling like I'm off center, y'all. I'm sorry. Gardy, the youngest in charge, is in the building. Y'all, you know that we off when Gardy shows up on a Friday. He trying to get his whole world together. That's what happens when you move to Gardy. You're reminding me right now, like what it's going to be like our first few weeks in Panama, because it's going to be like, yo, I don't know what day is it. The stuff ain't working. Oh my God, this is going on. It's going to be a whole situation. For those of you guys that are just pulling up, welcome. What's going on? Hey. Yeah, we decided to take it to the Chocolate City, Christine. You know what I mean? Where us mocha people live. Let's go. Hey.
Us latte people live there too.
All this time I had y'all on mute, Sheree. Ain't this a trip? Y'all been talking to me. I'm like, why y'all ain't
No,
talking?
I said no. I said this. Us latte people are from DC too. I'm actually a native Washingtonian, like Christine. So we come in all colors.
Yeah,
all shades of black.
I can't, can't deny that. There's a lot of different shades of chocolate for sure.
Now everybody say.
I love it. What we doing today, y'all? What is going on?
Light chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolate.
So y'all know we're gonna have to get Rylan in the room. So we got to talk about chocolate. Like, how many chocoholics do we have in the building? Come on, talk to me. You a chocoholic? Really?
Absolutely.
Chocolate was never my thing like that, Christine. I mean, I can do it, but I ain't like a fanatic for it.
Yeah, when I found out my son doesn't like chocolate, I had to rethink parenthood.
You are stupid.
You were like, where did I fail? What did I do wrong? It was my firstborn. I was like, Lord, it's my firstborn. How does he not like, he don't like Oreos? Like, what?
What is his problem? I love it. John Schultz is in the building. Grand Rising, sir. Man, what we doing today, John? What you got in your hip pocket, brother? Besides nothing and some lint. Y'all remember them old school cats who used to say, hey, Dad, can you give me a couple of dollars? He said, boy, ain't got nothing but some lint in this pocket. What you talking about? You be like, come on, man. Let's go. If you're in the room, do me a favor, make sure you chime in. I got all kind of moving parts here, y'all. I'm sorry. But do me a favor, post it in the chat. Where are you tuning in from? What is the city? What is the state? What is the temperature, maybe the country that you're in? Come on, talk to us. Let's get ready to rock. Sheree, you good? How was your night?
I had a good evening. I'm trying to think, what did I do yesterday? I went over to my parents and hung out with them for a little while. I had some paperwork stuff I had to take care of them. But I wound up hanging out with my mom for a couple of hours. And then we went out and I took her to go grab something to eat, and then came back and my dad was home. And so then I got to sit down and spend time with him. I got to spend time with him. And then came home, and I had a magnificent MAPS ladies call last night. I was tired. I didn't really have anything, but they had some questions, some concerns that caused me to sit up in my chair, and I had to tap in. And so it was good, though. We were actually talking about some parenting issues last night. A lot of times we're talking about relationship marriage issues. But last night we were talking about some parenting issues. When you have the senior in your home that's getting ready to graduate high school that don't know what they want to do and they keep flip flopping from day to day, and it's like you run out of time. You need to make up your mind. So how do you handle that? But that also goes back to, have you prepared them for that moment? And so yeah, it was an interesting conversation, and we're able to provide them some tips, some strategies, things they can do to try to ease these next couple of months so that they have a plan in place when June comes around or May comes around, so that because ain't nobody trying to have no grown, especially a boy, grown boy or girl sitting around their house not doing nothing, sitting on the couch eating cereal. And you going to work
I'm gonna need the double.
Ain't nobody trying to do that.
I'm gonna need you to back up off the double standard.
Well, in my experience, girls are usually a little more motivated, a little more. They have a plan in place. That's been my experience. That girls are a little more mature and they know the direction they're going in, whereas boys are kind of a little, I don't know. It just is. We'll just see. I don't know. I mean, that's been my experience. Yeah,
a failure to launch generally is not a girl's problem, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, they're ready to launch. Yeah. In my experience.
Okay, thank you. I got you. If I may cut in for a second, I'd like to ask the audience. Listen, you got a teenager in your house, and they're having some failure to launch issues. What are you telling them? Put it in the chat. Let's let that be the first question of the day. Because, it's already a Friday. We ain't got really an agenda. So, yeah, Cherie brought it up. You got a kid. Maybe they're in high school. And you can see this one is going to have a problem. There's a failure to launch kind of, because I think that's almost a mindset, y'all. I think some kids, I don't know if it's gender specific. I think some kids kind of have it and some don't. And I think part of it is their environment, but I think a lot of it has to do with who they are. So talk to me. Everybody in the audience, chime in, let us know. No agenda, only vibes. You got a child, teenager, that you think might have a failure to launch, or maybe they have a failure to launch. They're 30 years old. They're still on the couch.
Not here. Not doing that.
Yeah. That's some people. I'm not saying it's you.
So we
come on, let's go.
We had that child. He's now 21.
Did y'all?
Mm-hmm. He's now 21. He still lives at home. Well, not still, but he lives at home. And yeah, he wasn't a failure to launch. He just didn't know what to launch. Yeah. So we had to help him, but we did not rush. Yeah. We did not rush him versus what my mom did with my brother. It was military, job, or school. Those were his options. And so he chose the military. It definitely benefited him. That was for my oldest brother. But for our child, we did him differently because we knew his temperament and we knew how he moved. So we had to take it a different approach. So we asked him what his interests were, what motivates him besides having fun, because he just liked to have fun all the time. And he wanted to go to school just to have fun. And I was not paying for that. That wasn't an option. So it took him about graduated when he was 17. So it took him about 2 years to figure it out, but we helped him along the way. We didn't just give him ultimatums. And I think oftentimes parents give ultimatums and you box your child in and you don't give them the opportunity to really explore and live with reasoning, of course. So now he has a whole clothing line and he's doing speaking and but it took him a minute to figure it out.
Great approach, Chris Payne. And I agree that is an approach. And and I think it depends on the child. I think you have to know your child. I know, like with our child that had those challenges, that did not, giving them the freedom didn't work. We had to push that one out the nest. And so you got to know your child. I think that, you have to know your child. I think that some kids don't respond to being given ultimatums and some kids need the ultimatum. So you need to, I'm glad that worked out for you guys, that, it was successful, but you knew your child, you knew your son. too, and so you knew how to address them. And I think you have to know your individual child and know what's best. And so in our, like I said, in my experience, in our experience, we had to push him out the nest. And
now he wasn't in the house living off of us. Now let me say that he did have to go get a job, and he had to
see that's the part
he had
right
to
there.
pay something. He had to pay
Right.
a utility or cable or whatever. There were responsibilities that he had.
right.
Yeah, it wasn't just you just here chilling until something hit you upside your head and you figure it out. Oh no. That's what we not. I mean, he got two entrepreneur, parents in front of him.
Right.
But we did had to give him some direction, but not box him in. So he felt obligated to do something that wasn't gonna last. So, but I definitely get it. Yeah, we're not sitting up there chilling, having a house party every night.
So I have a question. Since nobody's chiming in on the audience.
Sheree, can you let me just reset the room real quick before you fire off? Because you are really hot today. And I just need you to hang tight just for a sec. I just want to kind of nurture the room so far. Real quick, reset, 7:13, 13 minutes after 7 o'clock. This is Real Lesson, the corporate experience. We don't have an agenda today, only vibes. So we just come pulling up, having a good time. My tech is crazy today, so I'm a little off. So if I come in and go out and I'm a little abrupt, y'all have to understand I got a whole thing working in my head while I'm trying to show up today. But the question was, you got a kid who hasn't made up their mind. They're in the home. As a parent, you're really kind of caught between the whole thing of, do I push them? Do I hold them back? Do I encourage them? Do I give them an ultimatum? And then Sheree brought up the idea that knowing your kid matters. You know what I'm saying? Because what works for one don't work for the other. And I think that what Christine just said was funny, because a lot of times, Christine, this really boils down to production, right? Because I think that one of the things that we do in the Western world that I noticed they don't do in the Eastern side of the hemisphere, like Asia's of the world, things like that. And that is, we don't encourage them to stay put until they've figured it out, meaning stay put where you are. Like, stop hopping around and bumping around, like stay with a thing long enough to be able to see if that thing is going to pop. And because you came up, like in our houses, most of us, it was, look, by the time you're 18, first of all, you've known since you were a child that you got to get out of here. You've known since you was 5 years old. Come 18, you got to get out of here. And I think that sometimes that's tough, especially when you got a really creative kid. It ain't about not knowing what to do. It's like, which one? Like, Jesus, and are they in an environment where they can nurture that and figure that out and that sort of stuff, but be productive while they're there? So anybody else on stage got something they want to share? And then Sheree, if not, we definitely can pick up. Come on, Rock, and then we'll go from there.
Good morning. Speaking on the subject with my kids in the car, so I'm going to be careful with how I say things. In my opinion, I've never been a fan of pushing my kids out the house at 18 years old versus them accepting more responsibility to do inside of the house, because I've seen where, my friends' kids, they're a little older than me, have pushed their kids out the house and the kids are struggling and they end up in a really bad situation. Versus setting them up, having a discussion about the plans. And for me, like my mother, when I went through things at 18 and 19 trying to figure it out, she was always there for me to fall back on. So I don't want to be that hard parent that, forces them out the house, but at the same time, they can't come back to me if they need to. I want them to be well prepared and ready to get out the house. Because to be honest with you, unless they're going into the college in the military, they're not going to be ready to just move out of the house when they're 18 years old. Some are, but some aren't. And it also depends on the condition, your location, where you live. For example, we're in Williamsburg, Virginia, where when it's tourist season, you're really busy. You got a lot of hours. When it's not tourist season, you don't have any money. You don't have any hours, so you can't survive on your own. And then if you look at the economy as a whole, in the state that we live in, somebody has to either have 2 or 3 jobs to survive and have their own apartment, or they need to have an income of at least $32 an hour. So when you look at that whole aspect, no 18-year-old, unless they're going again straight to college or the Army, is going to be able to survive in that situation. I think we need to be a little softer on our kids when it comes to that, and giving them grace and having the discussion with them.
Ooh, I love it. This conversation is starting out real good. It's a Friday. For those of you guys who haven't chimed in, I'm interested in hearing your perspective Sheree and I can talk about this for hours by ourselves. And I promise you, we have a 38-year-old. Well, she'll be 38 here in May. And we have a child who will be 30 in October. And I guarantee you, boy, we went through our challenges and we watched people as youth pastors. I was around parents all my life. And I'm telling you, y'all, this thing, I've seen it done good, bad, and everything in between. But yeah, come on, Sheree, what you got?
Yeah, Gardy had clipped up. Let him go first and then I'll go.
Come on, Gardy, let's get it. I'm gonna need you to get your mic turned up a little bit more, Gardy.
What about now?
A little bit more.
What about now?
Oh, sir, you are sounding very rich there, my friend.
All right, cool. So I think for me, it was a little bit different. My parents, they put me on game like after I messed up. After I messed up, that's when they kind of taught me. And their mindset was a little bit different. So my parents, they come from Haiti. They got to this country when they were a lot older. So they believed in like a lot of traditional stuff. Like, you go to work, you're going to go to school, you're going to get a 4-year degree, and then you're going to, go live your life. And for me, I definitely struggled with school a lot growing up. So school wasn't, really my thing, to be honest. And I learned about myself that my learning style was like hands-on. So like traditionally, like reading books and like studying and math and all that stuff, like I wasn't good. So, and I think what would have probably helped me earlier is like, speaking like confidence into me, teaching me how to like believe in myself at a younger age, because I didn't get this confidence until, I was a little bit older, and I had to get an understanding that, my parents, they came from somewhere different. So like their struggle was like survival, and that's the only thing that we know. We're gonna go to work, we're not gonna worry about our feelings, we're gonna do what we need to do to survive and pay these bills, and then that's like literally it. So I struggled with that a lot growing up. So that was my perspective to share. And now that I have that perspective, every time when I'm with my son, I just try to teach him like about who he is and like how he thinks, and not try to like push a narrative or a direction, but let him like find himself on like who he is, So that's something that I picked up from my parents, and me being a parent now, that's definitely something that I want to change, like going forward.
I love that, Gardy. I love that. Sheree, one of the things that I realized what Gardy said, and maybe this is a question we kind of can reposition a little bit. Do we nurture our kids enough around the idea of intentional discovery? I want y'all to sit with that for a second. Do we spend enough time nurturing our kids around intentional discovery? We notice that our middle grandchild is the actress for sure. Now she's 8, she's 9, and her parents are busy. They got one older, one very much younger, and they're executives in their company, and they just doing a lot. And so, as spending time with Mimi, we like, she's really like she's doing voices, Christine. Like when I say voices, accents. She's role playing who we are at the dinner table. So she's like, okay, guys, guess who I am, and then she'll just go into character. It's like, oh my God, that's Pop. That is Pop. No, okay. So here's another one, and then she's got the table saying, do me, no, do me, no, do me. And so I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. And so what Sheree and I started doing, said, what would it look like? Now I know that we live in, the 757. And so the opportunities to act are not that of New York City and LA, okay, in terms of schooling and all that. But there's got to be something here. And so we started looking and researching, and we found this camp that is going to be an acting camp. It ain't cheap, but I promise you this, it's for the whole spring break. They'll go to the camp all day long. It's super early, super late. Then they have a recital at the very end, and they're going to teach them the real basics of acting and that sort of stuff. And so we said, let's see if their parents would be willing to let us, put her in that. And that means she can't go away for spring break with the family because they got some things going on. She's going to stay with Gran and Pop and go to this camp and spend the night with us. And it's because I am in a position now that I wasn't then as a parent. And that is, how do I intentionally nurture their ability to discover? And I don't know if acting will be it for her, quite frankly. But I promise you this, while she's on my watch, I'm going to push her to discovering what it is so that by the time, she's in high school, she's like, oh, no, I'm very clear on what I want to do and how I want to do it. And now it's just about practicality. How do we get there at that point? Does that make sense? Anybody else got something want to chime in on that? We just kind of talking today. Come on, Sheree, and then we'll go up to Christine.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into what my next question was. So I think a lot of times as parents, we kind of let our children, and I don't mean to offend anyone or any generation, but I saw a statement somewhere, and this is not something I said, someone else said it. Basically, they were saying that this generation of kids, they're soft. And what they meant by that is that they're not made to do anything. They're not made to stand by their commitments. They're not made there because we as parents, we as grandparents, we are in a better position than our parents were. So our kids don't have to. And so they don't have to, like the generation prior to me, kids, you had to get a job to help your family out. My generation, it wasn't necessarily that I had to, but if I wanted extra things, I had to. My parents had everything at home covered. But like me wanting the designer jeans and stuff like that, if I wanted that, I had to go get a job to pay for those extra things. Kids today don't have to do that because their parents are financially, in most cases, in a better position where they can provide those things for their kids. And so therefore, we don't put there are no requirements for our kids. When it comes to them learning life skills. Now, yes, they're required to go to school and do that part, but I think that a big part of children getting to be a senior and them not knowing what they want to do is because they've never been made to do anything. They've never been made to honor their commitments. Like kids will say, oh, I want to go play football, play for a week or two and be like, I don't want to do it no more. And you just say, okay, well, you don't have to do that, baby. It's okay. You don't want to do it. Instead of, no, you committed. You said you were going to do this. You're going to finish out the season. Now, it's something different if they get hurt, then that's something different. But what I've seen and was working with parents for the past, 20 years, I've seen this pattern where, parents are not making their kids do things. And then when they get to high school, when they're getting to the point when they need to make the decisions, there's a lot of this, I don't know, or I don't know what, I'm gonna just chill. And it's like, you have to make a commitment at some point. I agree with Rocky. I don't think you push your children out there necessarily if they're not prepared. And yes, no teenager is prepared to move out and get their own place. You ain't, unless you're a genius and you getting a job at IBM, you're not going to be financially in a position to do that unless you go in the military.
She said IBM. She is old. She is
I'm
old.
dating myself. Leave me alone.
Rocky.
Leave me alone. Leave me
Can
alone.
we get some youth in the room right now? Can we get some young flavor? Like,
Okay,
where my
go and work for
40-year-old
Apple.
parents at?
Go work for Apple.
Where y'all at?
Apple. Okay.
Thank
gonna
you.
go work
Thank
for
you.
Apple.
Thank you, Sheree.
Okay, so I think that we have to prepare our kids with a certain set of expectation, but that starts before they're in high school. That starts before they're a senior in high school that you're now trying to prepare them. I mean, kids need to learn certain responsibilities around the house. They need to learn to honor their commitments prior to then, so that when they get to that age, and like I said, them making a commitment at that point is not necessarily them going to college or going in the military. It can be, okay, I want to take a break from school because I really don't know what I want to do. Okay, that's fine. But if you're going to live here, you're going to have to work a job. Like Christine, you're going to be paying a utility. You're going to be paying something. There still has to be something. You can't just, and that's why I always go back. They can't be just sitting home chilling, eating cereal on the couch while I go to work every day. Or even as an entrepreneur, I'm still working every day. I'm not sitting here chilling every day. You don't get to just not do anything. And that's what I mean by that. And I think that as parents, sometimes we don't prepare our children and we wait. It's like crunch time. You're in senior year, like, oh my God, what are you going to do? They don't know because y'all have never had the conversation until now.
All right, so here's what I want to do, Sheree. I appreciate that. I want to get this room highly participatory. So here are the rules from this point out, from me, for all the mods. We ain't talking no more than 45-second clips at a time. That's it. Because this is one of those subjects, Gardy, that is a soapbox subject. Put that in the chat. I can promise you, if we're not careful, we're all bringing, me included, our passion points, our own pet peeves to this conversation. And I really want today to be kind of a fun day of discovery and just considering I'd love this to be with a day where you're saying, you know what, that person said something I've never thought of it that way. Can you say that in a minute or less? Let's go. We're working the room today. Come on, Christine.
In a minute or less. Okay, here we go. I love everything everyone has said. I love everyone's perspective. I definitely love what you said, Coach, about nurturing what you see in them. That's exactly what we did with our children. We nurtured what they see. Now my oldest son is a music producer because we nurtured that when he was in elementary school. We got him involved in classes. It definitely helped that my husband is a musician himself and knew the people to connect him with. Same thing with my daughter. I mean, I own a whole dance studio now. She's at Alvin Ailey School of Dance. And so we nurtured that from the beginning with our youngest child. We also nurtured her. She plays piano, but she plays by ear. So it's just something that she gravitated to. So it's really about nurturing what you see in them. Yeah, they tried basketball, baseball, soccer, karate, the whole nine. They tried all of those things. And it was almost like finding what stuck. And that's literally what it was, finding what they gravitated to. As a homeschool mom, here's my whole shameless homeschool plug. We have an incredible opportunity to really hone in on that part because we're not running to a 9-to-5, racing home to cook dinner. I'm coaching a mom right now who's going through that very thing, trying to figure that part out. And so the benefits are endless. But if you nurture your children, you know their temperament first, Coach. And I got to talk to you about what that looks like.
Listen.
Because I know the children change.
Listen.
But being able to figure out their temperament early enough definitely helps. Because I've sent my son to you because I was like, Coach, help me out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Figure it out.
Absolutely.
Because I think I was 46 seconds.
You probably was like a minute and 10. James, do me a favor. I'm just playing with an idea because we're going to do some karaoke at some point on this application. James, can we put a field, maybe it's where the KBCN field is or something, and put a time clock that counts down in that field? I'm just curious. And the reason why is because I want to do some rapid fire fun stuff. Not just today, but like I'm going to play with this idea. Play with that.
That time was for me and you. I'm just saying.
No, listen.
Right.
It started it for sure, but I'm trying to wrangle me in because what y'all don't know is that I'm sitting here thinking of all kinds of things. Like I could do a masterclass right now on what y'all are saying, and I'm like, I don't want to do that on a fantastic Friday. You know what I'm saying? This is no agenda, only vibes. It's starting to feel like work, and I want to party. So the Flamingo is in the building. I just want to know some stuff real quick. If you're in the audience, let's get you up on stage real quick, 1 minute or less. We just need y'all to think through, like, what does it look like to nurture a kid? Now, Nona, let me say this on the front end. Nona, you got 1 minute. And if you go a second over, I'm cutting you off. I'm telling you on the front end. And I'm doing that for everybody on stage, including my mods, including me. Y'all got perfect right to mute my mic after 1 minute if I go over. Nona, what you got? Come on.
Well, my parents definitely didn't make soft kids. My mother had us doing chores from the time we were probably 8 or 9 years old. We got paid for grades. Anything less than a B, we paid them. We had a chore chart. We were investing when we were 13 years old. So even though I didn't quite figure it out till I was older, I certainly wasn't raised to be soft. And now as an aunt, I'm not a parent, but as an aunt, I'm going to do the same thing with my nieces. You know, they're going to have chores. They're going to be in all sorts of activities because that's what we did. We traveled as kids. So my parents didn't make soft kids. And we're definitely going to help my brother not make soft kids either.
You got 10 seconds, Nona.
So that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. There you go. Come on. No soft kids in this building. Christina's cracking up. Y'all think I'm playing. As soon as James figures out, look, I'm looking around and see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 devices. I'm mad that I didn't wear my Apple Watch because that would have been my timer. Because I'm serious about this. This is hilarious. John Schultz, you raising 2 girls. They both are teenagers, brother. Please, I've got to hear from you on this one. Talk to us, man. Schultzy, if you think you're off mute, you're not.
No, I'm in the car.
Oh, snap. Bad time.
Nope. So,
Okay.
I mean, I've been listening about the whole conversation. We got three different thoughts because we got three different children, and they are three completely different pathways. Looks like our youngest will probably run the play as designed from the original playbook.
Okay.
The middle daughter, in the beginning, looked like she was going to run the play, but she has her own navigation, and that will land her in the same place. It's just her route is very scenic, and so I'm just starting to wrap my arms around what her scenic route is. So we had
John said very
lunch.
scenic.
We had lunch with her one day, and we asked her. I came out before Stacey came out, and I came out and said, "Hey, look, it's not even about college. It's like, what do you want to do? So whatever you want to do, we could begin to wrap a plan around that. Because college is not necessarily an end all be all for us anymore. Well, I'm gonna say for me, Stacey probably a little bit more inclination, but for me, it was not about go to college, because I want you to go because you feel like that's your next step, not because it's us, because my middle child does a lot of, well, this is what I think my parents want to do, and we throw it back to her and like, what do you want to do? And so she has not answered that yet.
Yep.
I think that's over 60 seconds.
I think look, Gardy, I'm trying to look at Cherie's clock. Cherie is sending me a clock, and the clock said 1:28. I'm like, wait a minute, are we cutting up? Are we going down? What we doing?
I'm sorry, I had it on
James
the
coming through. Look at James coming through.
I had it for an hour and a half. Sorry.
I had to turn down. My bad.
Listen, it's all good, John. John, you said one thing, and I love this. This conversation is getting ready to be really rich. What does it look like when your kid has decided to take a scenic route? And man, this is crazy because you have children, and I think about, your kids, Christine, you have those that are wanderers in their brain. They're like caught up with the excitement of the world. And it's like, ooh, y'all ever take the scenic route and you're like, ooh, look at the cows, y'all. Ooh, there's horses over. No. And then you over there in the back, John, talk about punch buggy, no punch back. You're like, ooh. So listen, this is a whole conversation. I absolutely love it. Anybody else want to chime in? James has the clock up. So we got the 1 minute. And the buzzer will sound. We're going to get a buzzer in a little while, James. Come on. I think I can do the buzzer. Come on, Gardy.
I'm going to make sure I got to get this done under a minute. But I think one thing that I'm starting to realize is having exposure, right? Giving your kids exposure to new things. I see that traveling has helped me out a lot. And I think as business owners, we want to be able to make money. We want to be able to have the time freedom. We want to be able to do what we want. But I think, it's important to be able to expose our kids to new experiences, right? Because I learned that when I get new experiences, I'm gonna have a different perspective, seeing how different people think, different cultures, things like that. So that's another thing that also pushes me to continue to do what I'm doing, so I could have the capacity to be able to bring my son with me while I go on trips, be able to do a father and son thing, when it's just us. So I think experiences and exposure, new experience and then new exposures is important.
He did it, y'all. 5 seconds to spare. Listen, I was prepared to do my little sounder, and so look, this is hilarious. This is how we do it. Grand Rising, everybody. If you're just pulling up, welcome to the room. It's 7:36, 36 minutes after 7 o'clock, and I had this novel idea to create a timer on when we talk. This includes me. So the rules today, it's no agenda, only vibes. We kind of jumped off talking about, I don't know who brought it up, talking about these kids. And I called it a failure to launch. I want to reword that. That comes from a movie title. Sometimes it is I don't know how, I don't know what.
A slow launch.
It's a slow launch. I like that.
Or they're just not ready. No, language is important, y'all. And Christine, to your point, and as a mompreneur, you probably see this a lot. And we got Jill on the call. Yeah, I think that there is a space
of ownership here. That's just me. Now you can start the clock because I can get on a soapbox on this one. Start the clock, James. I think there is a space of ownership. As a parent, I don't know if I owned the fact that, and I know for a fact I didn't. There were times in my kids' life, particularly the creative, starry-eyed, scenic route one, your friend, Gardy, who just never seemed to really know which one because he was talented in a bunch of things. The problem was I did not spend enough time as a parent trying to invest in all the little things as best I could. I was very distracted. And I think that if I had to do it over again, I would have reorganized our life so that I could primarily or put him in a primary spot where I could kind of come alongside of him and nurture those things and not get mad when he didn't go with the one I wanted to go with because I'm spending my money. Because that even of itself is a ton of pressure to perform. With 5 seconds left to spare, I'm done. Anybody else in the room? I love this clock. You got 1 minute to talk a little bit about.
You got Renee and Jill on stage.
Yeah, I got Renee and Jill. So we got some parents who are actively doing it with kids today in 2023. Renee, come on, talk. I'm sorry. Jill was first and then we'll go. I think Jill was first up. And then we'll go Renee. Come on, Jill.
Can you guys hear me? Because I'm driving in the woods.
Yeah, and we know you and you're driving. So, Jill, yes, we can hear you.
Good morning. So we're on our way to a field trip bus right now. But with both of the kids, the older one living in Hawaii, we put her on our credit since she was in high school, especially when she went to college and bought her first car, but put her name on it. And now, Hawaii is expensive, and she's buying her first home in Hawaii. And so, and under 30 years old. Yeah. So this one, y'all already know about this one. He's been exposed to everything since he's been out the womb. And we teach him, I had the philosophy of—
You got 10 seconds, Jill.
Living like the wild. I train my children like animals do. You have to learn everything so that you can fly on your own.
Let's go. Learn everything so that you can fly on your own. Y'all, I love this whole clock idea. Let's get it.
You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh,
let's get it. Let's get it. Grand Rising, everybody. We got people on the stage today. It's a no agenda, only vibe kind of a day. It's a Friday, the corporate experience where we're just kind of talking about whatever it is. And today the subject about kids came up, and I'm waiting for James to get his clock worked out. James, I appreciate you doing this on the fly, man. It's all good.
That was a nice little promo for Liberty Mutual, though.
It was. I wasn't going to say the word because they wasn't paying me yesterday.
Well, maybe they will because we said the word.
Yeah, but I won't say that. But yeah, that was a good sort of a segue. So Renee, listen to me very carefully. You're going to have 1 minute, but I want you're actively parenting two boys. What does this look like in your house for you to prepare them to launch? Let's call it that, y'all. Preparing to launch. That's the word. Come on, Renee.
Good morning, everyone. So yes, I'm actively two teenagers, 17 and 13. And my word for myself and for the house is we are on a journey and it's not a destination. I definitely have kicked out the idea that 18 is the bewitching hour. Everybody has to go. And so what that means is for the older one, he has the opportunity to find his interest, find his niche. And at the same time, in the real world, he has to learn to drive. He has to get his, government ID. He has to job search, job hunt, and find a job. And I mean, keep it light.
20 seconds.
And then the younger one, he's just living life and trying to decide what he likes best every season that the sports changes. And that's it.
I love it. I love it. She did it with 7 seconds to spare. Let's go. Hey, it's a Friday, y'all. I hope y'all are catching this vibe. This is a little different. We got the clock on people, including me. So we're going around the room. Let me reset really quickly. Just pulling up. Welcome to Real Lessons in Life and Business. It is the morning show. We're not talking business this week or today on Fridays. Right now, we kind of came on over to the subject of parenting, and we're just talking about preparing your kids to launch. What does that look like in your house? Everybody's on a clock for 1 minute, and I will jump in and give you a heads up for y'all that ain't on TV of what that is. Come on, Tammy, you up, and then we'll go Gardy. Come on.
Good morning. I just wanted to share. We didn't put age limits on our kids as much as, and I'm going to say me, because by the time my kids were ready to launch, I was a single mom. But I put action limits on them. And when I say action limits, what I mean is when you're doing all the things, then maybe you look like you're ready to launch. Or when you are willfully going against just general expectations, then maybe you need to launch and do this thing on your own. With my youngest son, well, actually both of them, I intentionally exposed them to things. And what I mean by exposure is I worked at a college. Every chance I got, I had them on the campus. I put them in camp on the campus. While I was studying for my master's degree, my kids used to read my books to me while we drove. So it did a couple of things.
Time's up, Tam. Tam, listen, that one thing you said that I think lit me up, and I need everybody to put this in the chat: action limits versus time limits. That is huge. And I think that unfortunately what most people don't do is they don't pay attention. See, that action limit kind of gets them in a place where, quite frankly, y'all, these jokers are literally, they're literally saying, wait a minute, I've experienced something and now I know how to act on that. So to have them on the college campuses and all, oh my God, I think that's so fire. Gardy, come on, talk to me. What you got, baby boy?
So let me tell y'all a story how I ended up in Virginia. So my life wasn't, on track when I was living in New York when I was coming up. So my parents, they decided to send me down to live with my sister. And I think their mindset was to be able to take me out, the environment, the people that I was hanging out with. And I think they were thinking about like the best thing that they could do with their resources. And I think it was a gift and a curse because one, it was good to be able to be like on my own, even though I'm living with my sister, but a lot of things I had to do, by myself at 17, cooking for myself, washing my own clothes, things like that. I had their financial support, but the mindset still changed for me. So I think, we think about doing the best that we can. And I think that's like the most important, to give your kids everything that you possibly can, but understand that they're gonna learn from the good side and the bad side as well.
Right at the buzzer. He came in right at the buzzer. Y'all, this is good. This is good, Christine. Christine, why are you grinning and you just shaking your head? I done found a new toy. I done found a way to keep them. Hey, look, I'm putting limits on me too, Christine. Listen, one of the reasons I'm doing this, y'all, is because I want y'all's participation. I don't want to control the mic, right? Just because I have it and I love to talk, don't give me the right to control the mic. I'm sorry. So I got to get better. And if I'm getting better, everybody getting better. I promise you that. Who else is up? Let's talk. And you can come back around and get another minute. You can reset. You can have as many 1 minutes as possible. Come on, Christine.
All right.
Come on, Christine. She's going to pick up where she left off.
Go ahead,
all right, go ahead. Start the clock. Let's go, Christine.
So listening to Tammy and Jill just talking about exposing them to different things. Really quick story. I was in a nail salon the other day and there was a mom with her daughter. Her daughter was a teenager and they were getting their nails done and the girl was picking out a color, getting a pedicure. And so the daughter wanted a certain color. The mom found the color for her, but the daughter had already found a color. She said, no. You said you wanted this color. And the daughter's like, well, it may not be the name that I said, but this is the one that I want, which was different from the parent. Moral of the story is parents have to be able to let their child decide. Oftentimes we are deciding for them and then get upset when it doesn't match. They may say a thing, but may not be able to articulate the way that they want to articulate. But when they found it, they found it. And that's one thing I do with my kids. I don't decide for them. I give them options. And once you make the decision, it's yours. So that's another way of helping them choose.
Right at the buzzer. Right at the buzzer. Right at the buzzer. We got buzzer beater going on. We're going to call this Buzzer Beater Friday. I love it. We can reset and go back for as many 1-minute shots as we can. But I want to keep this party going, y'all. I promise you right now, if it ain't love, it ain't real. Let's go. Grand Rising, everybody. 747. I hope you're having a great Friday. It is a Real Lessons, the corporate experience. We ain't got no agenda, only vibes, hanging out, talking about these kids, preparing them to launch. That's the subject that kind of popped up today. Anybody else on stage want to chime in on this? Clip it up. If not, maybe we can switch gears. Gardy is back. Come on, Gardy. We done found your topic, brother.
I guess so, but
I am excited.
I got a question for everyone, and maybe we can put it in the chat or talk about it. Do you prepare your kids for the world, or do you protect your kids from the world?
Ooh, prepare or protect, and you can't say both. Prepare or protect, and you can't say both.
It's prepare, because if you are preparing them, there will be a sense of protection. Go ahead, stop my timer, James. But there is. But you
I
have
thought she was just gonna go in one word and come back. No, that's what James probably was thinking. Start that clock, brother.
But you do
this
have
is a mompreneur we dealing with.
Yeah, and this is my jam. But you have to prepare them. There's one thing to protect them, because when you protect them, you're shielding them from reality. That's just my perspective. But you absolutely have to prepare them for what is, for what may be, what could be, and what should be. I'll yield there.
Listen, James, the clock got stuck. It never started. If I have to chime in, Gardy, I have to be really honest. In retrospect, I didn't prepare. I protected. And I paid a very, very steep price for it. I parented my daughter out of fear. And I parented her from the place of who I used to be as a grubby little boy, interested in one thing. And I protected. With my son, I protected because I recognized, and I was living in shame when parenting him. I'm being real vulnerable right now on this Friday because he came to live with me because I didn't do my job the first time. And so for me, I erred on the side of letting him get away with way more than he needed to because it was out of trying to protect him. And I failed. Now, God circled it around and I was able to kind of redeem some of that stuff. And they turned out okay. But I'm dead real, y'all. I did not prepare. I protected with 6 seconds left on the clock. Let's go. Hey. We're going to get the clock reset. Let's get the clock reset. Cherie, come on, talk to us. Prepare or protect? Let's go.
And so this is where the great divide happened with us with parenting. Whereas Glenn was a protector, I was in preparation mode. And so I think the balance of that was that they were both prepared for certain things. They had some foundational things because I had been preparing them, but there was certain areas where his protection overrode that. And so I think that's why, if I'm honest now, looking back, that's why I think that even though, there was a degree of protection in place, they were able to still thrive and able to still, become successful because they did have some foundational things because they were prepared with some things. In the particular area he's talking about was more social, that the protection part came in. It wasn't that we were protecting them from real life and the consequences of life. We did prepare them for that. And so I think it's good to have a balance. It doesn't have to necessarily be all one or the other.
2, 1. You did good. She came in right at the wire. Cherie, that introduced something to me. Why I think it was, in our kids' cases, the advantage that they had was they had both of us. And where I erred on the side of protecting, I appreciate that balance you just brought. You always erred on the side of preparing, so much so I used to think that Cherie was mean. And I would say it out loud. Why you got to be so mean, though? Gardy, it was terrible. In the very beginning, and I'm just being, this is a transparent Friday. In the very beginning, y'all, I'm like, listen, come here, let me talk to you for a quick second. If you do not change your tone with this kid, you're going to break his bent. And she would be in tears because she would think, so you think I don't care about our son? Like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you mean. And we would have, like, it would, yeah, we talk about only having 6 arguments in 24 years. Then we're probably the reason for 4 out of 4 out of the 6. My minute is up. If you want a minute to come and chime in on the day, the subject that we kind of talked about, or we're talking about, is preparing your children to launch. It's you know, nothing real super serious, but we're gonna figure it out. Clip it up. Let us know that you. Well, come on, Renee. What you got?
Hey, good morning. I wanted to chime in on Gardy's question, protect or prepare. Definitely prepare. Age appropriate when they were younger. Now it's like involved in conversation. They're sitting in the room, especially my older one, with the doctors, with the conversations. He's a part of it, eyes wide open, because he needs to know. And so, yeah, I'm 100 on team prepare. My youngest, I dropped him off recently 2 blocks away, and he had to figure it out and get home. Now, it wasn't crazy, might sound crazy, but he also learned one valuable lesson, why we do things in teams. But now I don't have to force it. He chooses it. So that's my thing, is they need to choose to also take that preparation to heart. That's it.
10 seconds left on the board. She is killing it. It's a Beat the Buzzer Friday. We're talking about parenting, preparing your kids to launch. Mr. Fun just jumped on the stage. Come on, Daryl. This is your space, man. You're doing an incredible job as an educator. Bring us up to speed, man, on these 20 to 23 kids. You got 1 minute.
Okay, so number one, the kids today, I just kind of go back a little bit to what I was taught and making them prepared, understanding that even though they're taking my class, they can use this talent and gift for whatever. But what I really want to say is that with my own kids, I have a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old, and my 19-year-old is autistic. So I provide, protect, and preserve his way of life. So that's what I focus on. And my daughter, I just totally prepared her for life by giving her all of my knowledge. I said, make mistakes, ask me about mine, and I'll tell you. That's
whoa. 24 seconds left on the board. He killed it. I can see somebody coming in saying, I want my time back. No, let me say this. I love what you said about the idea of providing. Like, that's a P that we hadn't thought about. And I just think that, you know, providing a space, and obviously every child is different. If you have someone in your home you're raising, they're on the spectrum, they're autistic, they're going through some of their own individual challenges, that looks very, very, very different, right? Where you literally, we have some couples in our community who have autistic children, and they have to protect in ways because, you know, you got, let's just be honest, you got cats who are being shot in the street by police because they have a mental challenge, and this is why they're not complying. It has nothing to do with disobedience. And because this literally can threaten your life, like, that's a whole thing. So I love the introduction. I love the perspective. Anybody else? Let's clip it up. I see Nona is on the stage. Sheree, we'll go back up to you, and then we'll come down to Nona. Come on.
Yeah, and this, I'm going to introduce the elephant in the room. I think, particularly as African Americans, there is a certain level of protection that we do have to instill in our children. And I guess it ties in with being prepared. They just have to be prepared for the world and what to expect and how to handle themselves in certain situations. So some might say that that's protecting. But I think when we say protect, and I don't know if this is what Gardy was going to, is shielding them from the world. We can't shield them. We can't keep them in this little bubble. I think we have to allow them to experience certain things and prepare them for the experiences that they'll encounter. But there is a certain degree of protection in us preparing them, because we're trying to prepare them to be able to handle themselves in certain situations that will inevitably protect them as they move along.
10 seconds on the board. Y'all doing good. Let me find out. I'm gonna have to start giving out gifts for people who are leaving time on the board. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming. Yes, that's the part I was thinking about. Real quick, we got Nona in position. Nona, come on, let's go. You got 1 minute on the clock, lady.
Well, my mother was definitely a preparer. She is a preparer. And just to come to Cherie's defense, sometimes when you're a preparer, you are going to come across as mean. Because my mother definitely comes across as mean sometimes, but it's out of love. So, and I do believe that preparation is a form of protection. When you know how to handle the world, you can protect yourself. So that's just all I wanted to say.
Oh my goodness. Nona left 32 seconds on the board. Oh my gosh. God is good, y'all. It's a Feel Good Friday. Where you at?
You got
what you doing?
And Christine.
Okay, come on, Gardy, and then Christine. Let's get it.
I was gonna shake things up with another question, so let's go to Christine real quick, and then come back to me.
Let's do it. Let's shake it up. Come on, Christine.
Gardy, I don't know if we're gonna let you back on Friday.
Gardy has found a zone today, y'all. Are y'all?
Hold up! Stop talking! You on my time?
On her time.
You on my time?
Oh, snap! My
I
bad.
get 10 seconds more.
No, please reset her clock. Well, let's not even start. Listen. I love it. She reclaiming her time. Thank you, James. All right, go, Christine.
Thank you. What I was actually going to say, it's not being mean, it's being real. And that's exactly what it is. I'm not mean. I'm a realist. I'm real. This is what it is. Yeah, it's not being mean. Call it whatever you want, but it ain't mean. It's being real. I yield my mic with 46 seconds.
I am weak. Gardy, come on, shake things up again, brother. You coming with the questions today, sir. We need you up here more often.
Yeah, I know. I may found my lane real quick. So the question is, you can answer in the chat or feel free to, come on stage. But what are some of the biggest challenges parents face when raising kids, and how can they overcome them?
Ooh, put the question in the chat. What are the biggest challenges that parents are facing raising children, and how do you overcome it? You got 1 minute. Clip it up if you want to chime in, if you're already on stage. The biggest challenge. Now, I want to put this to my parents first. Let's do a pecking order. Who are actively parenting, meaning you've got a child living in the home and you doing this thing, or, maybe you're a single parent in the Gardy's case and you're fathering from afar. That counts. But I'm talking about you're actively doing it. I don't count, because in this case, my kids are grown. They got kids. So I'm not going to chime in on this one. But I want to give priority to that person first in the chat. And Gardy, if you see it in the chat and they can't come up on stage, we're going to deputize you, sir. You'll read their comment. But who's got something on this? Clip it up. Come on, Christine.
So that's a heavy question. But I will go back to your other question, Gardy. And the challenge is not to protect them, to prepare them. That's the challenge, because we do want to protect our kids from hurt, from the world, from the ugliness that's out there. But the other challenge is, I would say, right under that, in my opinion, for me, would be not being their friend. Like, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. And so even though we have, I have great children, but sometimes they may try to put me in the friend zone, and that's what we're not going to do. So yeah, I'll yield there. Hey, I'm doing good.
I love it.
Second.
You listen.
Ghetto rhyme acapella.
We found out it's a competition now with Christine.
Right. It's 8 o'clock straight up. 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. And I'm excited, y'all. It's a real lessons in life and business. The morning show, on Fridays, we call it the corporate experience, and it's just us hanging out, catching a vibe. We didn't have an agenda before this morning. The agenda kind of evolves, and we're on parenting, and it's just been driving the whole community. I want to go to the chat real quick. Shout out to Mr. Fun. He said he got to get ready to go to class. Class is about to start. Time to corrupt the future with brilliance. I just love the way this brother talks. I absolutely love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get some people up. One thing I do want to read, Yolanda Tate says, now I say prepare, but when my son, who is now 30 years old, was younger, I was in protect mode, especially since I was in the military and always gone. He had the foundation, but I could have done more preparing. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Yolanda. Absolutely. And I think all of this stuff, y'all, this is in hindsight. Let's just be dead real. Hindsight is 2020. That's why I think grandparenting is God's way of giving parents do-overs. I'm sorry. If you're a grandparent, you get it. Grandparenting is kind of like giving you an opportunity to do that whole thing over. And you do it through, you know, your kids, and they looking at you like, you never treated me this good. Like, what? How are you different now? It's like it's God's do-over. I didn't know. All right, who's on the stage? Where we going? Clip it up if you're in a position to talk. Come on, Renee, you got it.
Well, that is I agree with Christina. That is a tough question. I think, Gardy, with the, but it goes back to prepare versus protect. And some of the deeper issues for me that I've had to deal with is, you know, like I have a special needs son. Being able to call it what it was sometimes was challenging, but I've done it. And being able to call he's a Black man in America, special needs or not, that has been a challenge, but we've done it. So they say bullying has been a challenge for him. These are his challenges, not mine. But the thing is, as a parent, we have to do it. And that's where the preparation and I think a little protection, because if they're naive and they don't know, that's our fault too. So to an extent, I mean, I'm not crazy, but that's kind of what I have to say about that. Just got to rip the Band-Aid off sometimes and just let them bleed.
Ooh. 5 seconds left on the board. She ripping Band-Aids off, y'all, and letting them bleed. Mama, got a boo-boo. Let it bleed, boy. Grand Rising, everybody. Who's next up on stage? Come on, Cherie. You got something? Talk to me. You got 1 minute.
Yeah, I was going to say it was interesting that Renee brought up bullying. That's something that I've seen prevalent in, well, it's called bullying now. We got bullied when we were in school too. It just wasn't called bullying. So it was around then. But and I think the social media plays a big part in that. I think that kids' exposure. And so I actually want to pose another question on top of Gardy's. Do you guys see that their access to social media, their access to so much by their devices is adding to the challenges that you're having with parenting?
Ooh, that's a yes or no question for sure. With 23 seconds left on the board.
Cherie's shaking it up. I like it.
She's shaking it up, Gardy. Trying to take your job, brother. I love it. Listen, come on, guys. Gardy, what you got, brother?
So I think a lot of things come into factor, right? Age definitely comes into factor because you know, if you're a little bit older, depending on the app that you're on, you know, it brings something a little bit different. TikTok has like a lot of creative sides, a lot of dances, you know. I see people doing like TikTok dances with their parents. So, you know, stuff like that happens. You know, Instagram is real popular around my age group. So the content is a little bit different. There's a lot of like dating stuff on there, you know, about money, masculine, femininity, all kind of stuff like that. So I think age is more important. And I think having a conversation, you know, like with your kid to be able to like teach them how to think about that. Like, what's their opinion, you know, how they actually feel about it. And what's the conversation that they're having, you know, like with their friends also, because that's going to push their narrative and how they think as well.
I love it, brother. I love it. I love it. He did it with 8 seconds left on the clock. Real quick, I want to reset, and I'd like to do a quick roll call just because we got quite a few people in the room. And so I just want to say, super excited to have everybody along for the ride on this fantastic, fun Friday. It's a Friday, Real Lessons, the corporate experience. Great to have everybody. Jill Hines is in the building. Always a pleasure when you pull up, Jill. Good to see Uncle Ernie in the room. James, the mad scientist. Dr. Green is here. Good to see you. Is it Pam? Dr. Pam is in the building. Valencia's in the building. Hey, Macia, with your little welcome to Clubhouse, little party hat there. Look, that's what happens when you were on the app. You leave the app and you come back to the app. You just come back richer. Let's go. Mr. Hurlin is in the building. Grand Rising, good to see you, Mr. Hurlin. Yolanda is in the building. Always a pleasure when you pull up, Yolanda. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. You are killing them in the chats. I absolutely love it. Do me a favor. Also, I want y'all to shout out a couple of people. If there has been a person, listen to me very, very carefully. If there's been a person that has come up on stage this week and they're in the audience and you see them, I want you to shout them out and say, hey, I appreciate you. Maybe it's something you heard them say coming up on stage or whatever. I want you to do that. But I want to say thank you, Kathy, for pulling up. Always a pleasure when you pull up. Dominique, man, Teach Me Tuesday this past week was absolutely fire, sir. Thank you so very much. I'm just getting your note. I'll respond. But yeah, just getting a chance to remember that I got your note. Let me put it that way. Sharon, good to see you. The Faith Coach is in the building. Stephanie, Keitra, Elaine, shout out to my MMC family. Stephanie is in the building. Mel B, the Oracle is here, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I had to bring the best female lyricist of all time, in my opinion. In my opinion. Listen, shout out happy International Women's Day. Mel, you are international for sure. Listen, let's go. And I meant that for both the Oracle and Ms. Lauryn Hill. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Dre, it's good to see you in the building, man. Welcome to the morning show. That's my guy, Dem Turners, one half of Dem Turners. Good to see you in the room, my friend. Great to have everybody. Monica, thanks for pulling up. It's 8:07, 7 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's the morning show. Grand Rising, everybody. So today, on Fridays, we don't have an agenda. It's only vibes, and we kind of go with the flow. And so when we opened up the show today, we kind of opened up talking about parenting, and it started out as a failure to launch, that kind of subject, and then it kind of evolved to preparing them to launch. And then Gardy came up and he shook things up and started asking questions like, are we protecting our kids or are we preparing them? Like, put it in the chat. What's your answer? We also stumbled on a game where we call them the Beat the Buzzer. And because this is such a passionate subject, everybody in this room has a soapbox. Do not have my phone on Do Not Disturb. That has never happened in 2 years. Wow, first time for everything. Sorry about that, guys. At any rate, we just fixed that. Here's the deal. You're going to have 1 minute to chime in on the subject, preparing or protecting. If you're on stage and you got something you want to add to this conversation, John Schultz is clipping it up. Let's get it.
Yep, I'm preparing. And my preparation is to drop through every scenario as possible as we're out and about, talking about, learning about, and that will lead to their protection. So we're preparing over here.
Ooh, 45 seconds left on the clock. He is killing it.
I think he beat you, Christine. I think he beat you,
Christine, I think he straight beat you. I think, yeah. He dethroned you today, Christine. You still a queen.
For the moment.
Listen, you on stage, you got something you want to add to this subject. It's 1 minute on the clock. Come on, Nona.
To Christine's point, you should prepare, and preparedness is being real. You got to be real with people if you're preparing them. And so maybe the realness does come across as harshness or meanness, but you have to be real with people. You have to tell them what they're doing wrong. You have to give them the realness of the world around them. So yeah, you got to be real when you're preparing, and sometimes that realness can have an edge of meanness, even though that's not your intention, but you have to prepare and you have to be real.
All day. All day. Got some island vibes going here, Gardy. Time to shake things up a little bit.
You trying to turn me up real quick.
Hey, I'm just trying to help you out, sir. You know, you over there in the land and it's cold over there. Got somebody. Hey. If y'all feeling the vibe this morning, come on, put me in the chat. If it's cold where you are and this music right now is warming you up, put me in the chat. If you're looking forward to spring and then summer, or in my case, living in climates that's warm all year long, put me in the chat. Ooh. Hey, I see you, Garden. Somebody's coming up on a birthday next week, and we're going to be in Hotlanta. Whether it's hot or not, we're going to turn up. It's Pisces season. Let's go. Let's go. If you got something you want to chime in on this subject matter, we're going to get ready to round the room out. But Christine, come on, you got 1 minute on the clock. Let's go.
Yeah. So I was trying to read what Jen said because Jen's still having some challenges. Preparation and protection is very important. If you give them access to social media, and then she says, I was not prepared, and Taylor suffered social media bullying when social media first evolved. And that's a real thing. I do protect my children when it comes to social media, especially my minor child. I have access to all of her devices, all of her passwords. I'm constantly in earshot of where she is, especially when she's on Oculus and she's. Sorry about that. Now I need to put my phone do not disturb. Access to social media is a dangerous place for them to be right now because we cannot control it. So for me, I do have to make sure that I protect them. I go all the way in asking who is she talking to, what are they talking about, and making sure that I am protecting her so that she is not harmed emotionally and mentally. So I'll yield there. I ain't beating, but I had something to say.
I love it. I love it. Something you said I think is really important to take note of, Christine. I may not be able to control it, but I certainly can monitor it. And I don't want us to forget that. I don't want us to throw caution to the wind. I love what Mel B said. Mel B said, most people are protecting versus preparing. So there are so many lessons I give my children where I have to point out the difference. And I think that if we're not careful, we'll say, well, you can't control it. So that's kind of like saying, let them do what they're going to do because, kids going to be kids. You can't control it. No, you can't control it. We understand that. It's impossible. As a matter of fact, if you do, it probably won't turn out well, even if you could. But you can monitor it. And I think that is a responsibility we need to take charge of. Sheree and then John, come on, let's go. You got 1 minute.
Coach, I just have a rule thing. I got a rule.
Okay.
Since we did the game. So if it's a rebuttal, like Christine did a rebuttal, then you should have 1 minute and 15 seconds for a rebuttal. If somebody throws it back to you because you say something, come on, you gotta make it fair. All right, later.
Well, let me say this. I like the idea. Here's the challenge, just FYI. Our clock manager is struggling. We are putting him through the ringer right now. So as we kind of revamp this a little bit, I'd like that idea. Because look, I never was on a debate team. We argued, we fussed. And if you weren't louder than the next person, you didn't get in. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't talk often.
So that's why Sheree don't see. And then
I was on a debate team and I know how to do it. So let's go.
Let's go ahead and bring the rules in. I'm with it.
And me too, Christine. So let's go.
Look, obviously he came with the whole I know of those rules, but I never did them. So look, I love it. Look at the
We'll do it next week because I can see y'all then, right? Because we're gonna
be in Atlanta next week. Oh, by the way, y'all, are we broadcasting the show live next week?
We're gonna try to work that out. We're trying to work it out. We're trying to figure something out.
I didn't want to say nothing. I'm sorry, John. I probably
we don't know yet. We don't know yet.
We gonna try.
Yes. Our desire is yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to let everybody know, for those of you guys who are in Atlanta, it might become special. All right, let's get back to I don't know if this is a reply versus a rebuttal. Sheree, you clipping it up like crazy. Come on.
Mine is a reply.
Let's go.
Mine is a reply. I think that when it comes to social media, I know like when I'm gonna go back, this is even before social media, like when texting and all of that first started, when kids first started getting smartphones. You have to know your child and you have to know whether they're responsible enough to even utilize the device the way it's designed and not get caught up. I think a lot of times parents, because their friends got phones, you'll just get them a phone, you'll just get them a device just because you feel like at a certain age they're supposed to have it. That's like every child don't need to get their license at 16 because if they're not prepared, they don't need to get their license. So you have to know your child. But I think it's key what Christine said is that you have to monitor their social media. You can't just give them the device and let them go, because there are things that happen in the apps, in games, that there are adults playing these games and they're with kids. And so you have to monitor it and make sure you have those conversations to stay on top of it the best you can.
I like it. 5 seconds left on the clock. I like it. Come on, Gardy.
I have a very good segue to go into that. You can start my timer. I like what Cherie said. Being able to monitor them. Times are extremely different, right? I probably got my first cell phone, I think, when I was like 13, right? And there's a lot of stuff that's happening in today's world that didn't happen when I grew up. So my son, he's 7 years old, and he actually has a cell phone, right? And I was shocked when, his mom called me. He was like, "Oh, I got him a cell phone." And, her thought process was that he's going out on the weekends. He's hanging out with friends. The school, is small, as a majority white, right? So, she was concerned. So my question to y'all is, what age is appropriate for them to get a cell phone?
Ooh, Gardy, this isn't fair. This is a fire charge conversation, sir.
Can I ask?
And I still got some questions in my back.
Listen.
Can I ask for clarity from Gardy? So are you
Yep,
talking
clarity,
about
clarity from the floor.
Just a phone that you can just call, or are you talking about a smartphone where they have access to the internet and access
A smartphone where they have access to internet, social media, texting, FaceTime calls, full control, like the way that you and I have it on our phone?
Yeah.
24.
Oh, snap. This is bad. Start the clock. Who's up? Come on, John.
Here you go. Yes, I think that the age is appropriate just when we got the latch key, when they let you to the house and you can cook with fire and they didn't know what's going on. So it's when you leave the key, you leave them with the phone.
Ooh.
I like
John. So listen, if they're old enough to have a key to the house and come in and out and go home by themselves, stay by themselves. I think I hear you saying, John, you messed me up, man. I never realized it like that. Like I've had a key since I was first grade.
Exactly.
First grade, maybe.
I have a rebuttal.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. No, let Cherie go in with a rebuttal, and then we'll come with your replay. James, we're going to do a minute, James, but we're going to move to the because I'm not trying to throw James off. We're going to still do a minute, even though y'all daggone rules people want to do the minute 15. You're not going to throw them off. Come on, Cherie. We got 1 minute.
Okay, so when a child is old enough, and some people start giving their kids keys 8, 9 years old, the difference with a device is that now you're giving them permission to invite people in the home with them via social media. Just because you give them a key, you're not telling them they can have their friends in the house. You're not telling them that they can engage with other people. But when they have that device, they're engaging with whoever in the world they want to when you're not there and you're not monitoring. You're not able to hear what conversations are taking place. So I don't agree with that, because if they're young at that age and they haven't proven they're mature enough to handle that device and handle those conversations, having a key is one thing, but you're not giving them permission to bring everybody in the house with them when they get that key.
Ooh, 15 seconds left on the stage. Absolutely, sir. Hang tight. Let's reset the clock. John. All right, here we go. Let's go.
Latchkey kids were given the same directions. Nobody in the house, no friends, no telephone, start your homework, and still people snuck their friends and didn't do their homework. I'm done, sir.
Help me. John is talking about me. I stayed in trouble with a key.
Not finished.
Cherie, let me. I'm moderating.
Right,
I'll go to you.
You got the moderator now.
Got to let me moderate. We're gonna go right back to you. And Nona, I see you jumping in, Nona. I got you. We just gonna try and settle this one right here. We got another rebuttal. Let's reset the clock. Come on, Cherie.
But the phone is giving them permission because you give them access. It's one thing sneaking somebody in the house. I'm not going to sneak people in the house if I know that you can monitor it. I'm not going to. Yes, we did that. We snuck people in the house. But I'll say this, even though I wasn't having no grown people in the house with me. I wasn't having a gang of people in the house with me. I might sneak 1, maybe 2 friends in. But then also I knew what that cutoff time was when they had to be out the house. That phone gives them access to so much more. That's beyond you having a friend in the house.
Okay. 26 seconds left on the clock. I got it. All right, let's switch gears real quick. I want to kind of get some other people introducing. If you got a share, not a rebuttal, but a share, clip it up. And then we'll go there. So let's go to Nona, and then we'll keep it moving. Come on, Nona, you got a minute on the clock.
this is just a reply, not a rebuttal, but I think it's about maturity, not necessarily age. Because you can have an 8-year-old that you can give a cell phone to, and you can have a 15-year-old that you're like, no, thanks. So you really have to look at the child's maturity when you're deciding whether or not you're going to give them access. So
Okay.
that's my only thing.
You can. Okay. All right, cool. 34 seconds left on the clock. Great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to work it from top to bottom. Christine, I think you up next.
So it depends, like Nona said, on the maturity of the child, and you do have to know your child depending on the age. I will also say you can, something that Mel said, I was actually going to say this, but you can give your child a smartphone, but limit the access. That's what we've done with our child. They have a smartphone, but you're limiting the access. And there are apps that you can put on your phone that monitors their phone as well. So there's a way to do a thing. And even bringing them in the house, you still have to know your child. Like we didn't give our second son a key. That just was not an option. But my daughter, yeah, we'll give her a key. So you have to know your child. And it goes back to relationships, coach. Everybody, I have 4 children and they are all different. So I had to treat them all differently. They do not get access to everything all the time. I'll yield there.
It is a Friday. This is so fun. It's 8:22, 22 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let me reset for those of you guys. Yeah, for those of you guys that are just pulling up. This is the corporate experience that's turned into a buzzer beater Fun Friday, where we are having a little bit of a conversation around parenting. And if you want to get in on the conversation, just take a listen to the room and get in where you fit in. I do want to go to the chat really, really quickly before we go back to the room for those of you guys that are on stage. And I want to point this out, a couple of things. Mel B said this. She said, monitor it and use it as a means to have critical conversation because you can't be everywhere and they need to be taught to think for themselves. Oh my God, that's a great point. Andre Turner says, the weight given to each has shifted as they have gotten older. I have been less of a protector and more of a preparer the older they get. I love that. Mel comes back and says, just because you give them a phone doesn't mean that they get permission to use all the apps. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Yolanda says, say that, John. All facts, what John was saying. And then Coco just chimed in. Coco, I was scrolling through my phone the other day, and I came across our pictures from last summer. I miss you. I just wanted to say that out loud. Miss you in the room. But she said, it's amazing that we function without cell phones and we had keys. I gave my daughter a cell phone when she had to take the subway to NYC at 10. By the way, she had to take these subway trips by herself. She was alone. It was scary. The phones can open up portals that may not be ready to address. Caution. And so we do live in a world where that is such a double-edged sword, and it is tough. We're talking all things parenting today, and we got a lot of lively conversation. We got 1 minute on the clock. If you're on stage and you want to chime in, clip it up. I'm going to go from, I said we were going to go from top to bottom. We left off with Christine. We'll go Gardy and then Renee and then Tammy, I think it is. Come on, let's go, Gardy.
All right, cool. So I'm going to be for giving them a phone because of the tracking ability. God forbid if they're in an emergency, they call mom, they call dad. You know, I like iPhone, so we're going to be able to have the Apple ID. We'll be able to track them. Also, in case if they're in an emergency, right, if they need money or anything like that, it may be a bit easier to be able to help them out, you know, to be able to send the money to, you know, Apple ID, Apple Pay, whatever the case may be, in case that they're in the need of an emergency. So I think that's it. I'm saving my 30 seconds. I'll come back to y'all.
That boy watching the clock. Listen, this is a reason why y'all got to watch us on TV. If you're in a place where you can, jump on your Roku device. Shout out to KBCN. And James, you're doing a great job, brother, keeping us on schedule. We're going to keep it going. I think this room is probably going to have to go almost 9 o'clock today. I know this is a Sadie day, Cherie, but we're going to figure it out. Let's keep working the room. I think Renee was up, and then we're going to work our way down to Tammy. Come on.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the phone. I definitely think because of school and just how many changes have happened in our culture, they should have a way to contact us. I think that's kind of like a valid point for me. But also, you have to be aware, circle back around parents to the fact that you might have dead phones in your house, or they might not have service. But there are apps that the kids can still use a dead phone or your locked phone and access the internet. They have ways to get to text. They can add a text app. They can add a call app, and we just have to be aware and still have open dialogue because they're still using it. They can still use the phones and use all the things. Know your child, but I think we have to be aware of what's out there. Thinking that they're home without a phone is just, I think that maybe that's not realistic in this day and time, because they have ways to do it. And it's not a cheat.
Listen. Yep. Time's up. But listen, Renee, that's fire. I bet you just messed some parents up. You got a dead phone that doesn't have service, and there are apps that if they can get power to that phone, they can figure it out. Ooh. So just because they home with the device don't mean that they ain't talking to somebody else. Cherie, I see you blinking. We're going to keep going downstage. Tammy is up next, and then we're going to work our way back up, and we'll come to you. Come on, Tam. You got 1 minute.
So I never thought I'd be talking about this, but my 5-year-old granddaughter was given a cell phone for Christmas. So at first I thought it was absurd. Her grandmother gave it for it was her grandmother's phone. And although I thought it was absurd, so let me tell you where I'm guilty. I'm guilty because I love to FaceTime her in the evening. And I have watched her language develop by leaps and bounds just in terms of her conversation. So although I would have never given a cell phone that early, this is what is happening in my family. Thank you.
Wow. 21 seconds left on the clock. I love it. 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 Our grandkids were doing emojis. They didn't have cell phones, but they had tablets. And that was a whole thing. Them jokers at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, playing in their room up, their parents asleep. They got us on a whole group text, and these jokers sending us, now they can't spell nothing, Gardy. So what they're doing is they're sending emojis. They know an emoji says hi. They know it's a smiley face. They emoji unicorns, all that. Like they're communicating before they can spell on a tablet and not a phone. Dear Jesus. Yeah, I got the island vibes, man. Come on, I see you, Gardy. It's a Friday, y'all. We are cutting up over here on the morning show, Real Lessons in Life and Business. On Fridays, we generally have no agenda, only vibe. This is probably the most agendaed call we've ever done. We're playing Beat the Buzzer. You got 1 minute to chime in on the parenting stuff. We're working back up stage. Come on, Cherie, what you got?
Okay, so just for clarity, I'm getting a little hate in the room. No, I am not opposed to children having phones, a cell phone. My concern is the access that, unlike with Justin, when he got a phone, we got him a phone that did not have texting, that did not have the internet on it. He had a phone so that when he was away from home, he could call, he could do that. I don't even know if you can get phones like that. My concern is giving children full access to things. And I know that there are apps and stuff that you can use to protect, that you can set timers and things like that on your phones. I just want to caution parents, because our children are growing up in a technological world, they know how to bypass a lot of that stuff. Ooh. And so you need to be aware of that, and you need to check their phones regularly to make sure that they have not bypassed some of the things that you put on, because they know how to use these devices better than we do.
Pass me the keys to my truck. Pass me the keys to my truck. Listen, I promise you, Cherie, that's the thing. I thought I heard John talking about, ooh. Listen, I don't think that giving them a device absolves us of our responsibility of parenting. And if we're honest, y'all, the device for us was the TV. When we grew up, parents would pass off the responsibility of paying attention to us, or if they were busy and they were multitasking, this became our friend. Sit here, play with your friend while I cook dinner. The friend was the television. Can we say now the friend is your device? Times haven't changed. Technology has.
The method has changed. The method has changed, but that's why we know Jeopardy words and they don't. Anyway.
Help me. I'm done.
Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. Those were
John,
solid.
you're cheating.
Yeah, John is not abiding by the rules.
We got to come back to John.
Hey, look, and this song popped up right here. I want y'all to tune in. Look, dial into this one, Gardy. Why when John started cutting up, this song popped up? Huh? Hey, huh? What is it talking about? Put it in the chat.
I just changed.
Hey,
it just buzzed the front.
I got the Island vibes, y'all. I'm feeling spring is coming, summer is coming. Let's go.
Make plans with you.
Hey,
and I won't let them fall through.
Let's go. Grand Rising, everybody.
I think I lie for you.
Look, talking about controlling. For those that are not Drake fans and you don't know the hook, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Christine, you got 1 minute on the clock. Come on.
So, yes, they should have phones, depending on the temperament of your child. Definitely, depending on that depends on the age. But there are apps. I'm also a part of a Facebook group where parents are constantly sharing different apps that show you how they're avoiding, how they're getting around the backdoor apps, the apps that say one thing, but when you tap into it, it does another thing. There's also apps where you can monitor your child, monitor their screen time. You can block certain websites and things that they can go to, and they cannot download things unless you get approval. Saying all that to say that you have to be engaged in your child's life. There is no, that point that you made, Coach, about having the TV as their friend, that's their babysitter. That's what our devices have turned into. But if you're not engaged in your child's life, you don't know what's going on. And so, unfortunately, that's what's happening in society today. So be engaged in your child's life, and a lot of this the fears will die down and they'll be avoided.
Listen. Nora's checking in on LinkedIn. Let me add this part. She said that part, checking your child's phone regularly. I do that even with my 16-year-old. This keeps me in the loop of what's going on and potential problems. This also has enabled me to address a ton of issues. Listen to this, guys, before they escalate. Both with their children, with both of her children. People look at her and she says, people look at me like I'm crazy when I run their phone. In part because of this, my now 20-year-old knows how to properly engage when using technology. Ooh, that's what that looks like. Y'all, this is a fire conversation today. Gardy, where you at, baby boy? Come on, talk to me.
So I'm definitely, team give them a phone. And my background is technology. So I was the kid that knew how to use everything better than my parents to get around like those apps, exactly what you guys said. So with having a phone, do you give them access to that stuff? Do you give them access to social media to see how they actually engage on social media, the type of things that they post, pictures, etc.? Do you give them the freedom to see how they interact, or do you monitor that from day one?
That's a question.
Yep, that's the question.
All right, let's introduce us to the mix. We're evolving the question, guys. Again, if you're going to give them a phone, let's say you on team, give them a phone. Are you now monitoring monitoring what they have access to? Are you saying, yes, phone, no these apps. Phone, no TikTok. Phone, no Facebook for you. Phone, no, how does that look? Are you listen? Yeah, TikTok, yes, I must be a friend. I don't know. I mean, how does that look? Mel B is coming up on stage. Y'all know the Oracle. Let's make way for the Oracle.
Let's go, Mel B.
Let's make way for the Oracle. Mel B, you on stage. You got 1 minute. Come on, let's get it.
So my 10-year-old actually had a phone at 8, and she had to earn her rights into individual apps. So she started off with just the phone, being able to have a select few like family members and friends in the phone, and then she had access to YouTube, which I monitor. So she has a private YouTube page set up where I am the actual controller and owner of it, but it's for her stuff. I feel like there's that engagement piece that Christine was talking about needs to take place, and you have to be engaged. With my first group of kids, because they're 10 years apart, I had to learn that even when I thought I was monitoring things, I wasn't monitoring things. So I had to make sure that that active communication was there and that they knew how to make safe decisions and things for themselves, because kids are going to kid all day long.
With 15 seconds left in the room, she said, kids gonna kid. I love it. Yeah, Coco said, don't just say we're gonna check it. We actually got to do that. It helps them stay accountable as well. No, I love it. Anybody else on stage you want to chime in on this subject? This is good stuff. Come on, John Boy. Yeah, 1 minute.
I'm in regulation. So that check on the checker, I pop in the doors anytime and I flip the screen. I pop on the doors every time. And the way their room is set up, I have a mirror that it can pop into there that I can peek through at any time. So you got to go back to your youth days when you're monitoring. You can't be at it from an adult perspective. You got to go back to when you were slicking and kicking. I'm done.
Boy, 35 seconds left on the clock. Let me say this, John. Pop the door and flip the device. Good God Almighty. We had a situation where you had to earn the right to keep your door closed. Yes, you did. You had to show in our house that you could be trusted in public so that we could understand the behaviors that you might exemplify in private. And if you disobeyed the rules, we took the door off. Yeah, if you need to go change your clothes, go in the bathroom, close the door, change your clothes. We're not going to invade your privacy like that. But what you won't do is you will not be closed up in that room. And Cherie, that was your life. Your parents never checked on you. She talks about this in a couple of books she's written, y'all. Cherie was the kid that was left to herself. Her parents had no idea what was going on. And we didn't have technology like that then. But they had no idea what was going on the other side of that door. John, I love it. Kick the door down and flip the screen. Hey. Hey. Come on now. Let's go. It's a Friday. Christine, you got a minute on the clock. Come on.
Yeah, so one thing I have for my 12-year-old, when she wants an app, I get a notification and I have to approve the app. And what I do is I don't automatically approve the app. We have a conversation about, why do you want this app? What is it for? What does it do? And we engage, and that's the engagement part that Mel was talking about, is that we're having a conversation. And what I found out was it was just she was bored of whatever else she had on her phone. And then the next part was go get a book. And so that's what we do in our house. So I'm moving her off of the phone into something else, getting a book or going outside or whatever the case may be. The bottom line is, if you are not engaged in your child's life, you're not going to know what's going on. And then you're cleaning up messes or going to catastrophes or crying over bodies. Yep, all of that. If you're not doing your due diligence to be fully engaged in your child's life.
Listen, 8 seconds left on the board. Oh my gosh, Christine. Listen, I want to go to the chat really quickly, Christine, because this is a question I think needs to be added to the equation. Dr. Pam says, I heard a child tell her mother she can't see, listen, she can't see any of her social media pages. This is the child telling the mother, Mom, you can't see any of my social media pages. She says it's private. Here's the question. Should parents have passwords to children's social media accounts? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Yeah, I was feeling this. I had to go back to this one. This one right here, listen, I had to go back to this song right here. Come on, Wayne. Listen. Hey. I love it. We got yes, absolutely. All passwords. I have all passwords. I made them. Yes. Phil Hill is chiming in. Now, Phil is the father. He's a grandfather, and he's also a tech expert. Listen, his business of more than almost 20 years now is selling technology and security. And he puts yes in the chat. If I don't have the access, then you don't have either phone. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, come on, Valencia. No, I love it, y'all. We gotta figure it out. Y'all, can I tell y'all, and I'm gonna switch gears real quick. We're gonna get ready to bring this thing to a close. Can I tell you that we are one day gonna give an account for how we parented? We are one day gonna give an account. And that's why I think as long as they are alive, you still have a shot to go back and recant some things. I think one of the greatest gifts that a parent can give their child is the gift of evolving or the gift of change, meaning allowing your child to see you change and evolve and become a smarter, better, wiser, more emotionally sound adult. Because I think it also models them even after they're grown. My kids are grown. I can't believe that we have an almost 40-year-old. Cherie, that just hit different. You hear me? That's how grown my kids are. And I'm still parenting. I'm still modeling. It looks different. It looks more like a coach than it does, obviously a parent in the home. But it's different, y'all. And I think that God put us on this planet to guide them. We are their guides. And I think that that's ultimately what our job is. And whether technology changes or it doesn't let us off the hook of guiding them. I'm going to guide my kid until they get in the grave. Or, hopefully I go before they do. But the point is, I will leave out of here guiding them. I just read a report the other day, Phil, and this is going to sound a little morbid. Or it was a social media post. Somebody posted one of their the young lady's father passed, and apparently he was a pastor, I think it was, and they said last night Daddy went home, and he went home in the presence of his beautiful wife, all of his kids, his grandkids, and their kids. And the sweet thing is that we had a chance to watch him win the race. One of the things that I realized in that moment is that that's real finishing. When you can have your kids gathered around you as you make a transition and go on to a world of living in eternity where you will continue to watch over them, I strongly believe. But they get to celebrate that. That's because you did a great job of leading and creating an environment where they would want to come and participate in that process. It's 8:43. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. This is Real Lessons. This has been a great room. Phil Hill is on the stage. Can't let you come up and not say anything. Come on, Phil, talk to me, baby.
Good morning, crew. I just want to jump up because I heard a few things. I think we got to love them. We got to love our children all the way till they're 40-something. I got a 40-something, Glenn, and I got a 1-year-old grandbaby and everything in between. Love them, trust them, and then verify. I'm talking about this phone thing now. And then if you don't, maybe I misunderstood Christine. If y'all didn't catch that, one of the last words she said was, I believe she said about crying over some bodies. Now, I don't know, Christine. The way I took that was, I don't ever want to cry over none of my kids and my grandkids' bodies because I didn't raise them and train them and do all the things I needed to do the right thing. We just got to be parents.
I love it, Phil.
And let me say one more thing.
Man, yeah, you got 7 seconds. Come on.
That is, growing up and raising them is like bootstrapping. You got to show up consistently every day, just like bootstrapping.
You ain't said nothing to me, Phil. Let's go. Listen, it's never too much. Come on, Luke. It's never too much, guys. That's my job. That's my job. That's what I was here or put on this planet to do. Y'all, I've had a fantastic week hanging out with you guys. I want to say thanks for Bootstrapping Redefined. Phil, you mentioned it. Has sponsored the room all week long. October 13th and 14th, the event goes down in Atlanta, Georgia. This 2-day event, guys, is designed to help entrepreneurs and business owners elevate their leadership to increase their impact. If you are an entrepreneur, here's what you know. Most people agree that long-term success of any business actually depends on the ability and performance of its leaders. Leadership can't be measured in dollars and cents, nor can it be referred to in black and white terms. I'm sorry. Leadership success can be measured in the culture of a business and the replication of the leaders from within. Early bird tickets are available right now. Go get them. We got some announcements that we're going to be making all next week. People that we've just secured this week and we've been working on, and they said yes. It's going to be an amazing time. I want you guys to be there. We'll be in the ATL, and I'm praising. Listen, I am believing God that y'all are going to be able to pull up and do all the things. I promise you, you can't get to any place of significance by yourself, y'all, because we all need some help. I was gonna come back on that. I just was saying it just this one time. I was setting the whole thing up. I'm so sorry. Did y'all enjoy the room today though? That 1 minute buzzer beater thing was serious. Cherie. Oh my goodness. John Schultz. We keep evolving.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And the room should be growing, not in number wise, but in anticipation and maturity, because they see how we evolve. And we're not afraid to bring on great people like Mel B and Dominic and all. We want all your goodness. We want all your genius. We love to display that. If y'all don't mind sharing, get with us on the back end.
Do that.
Incorporate you into the morning show.
Come on, let's go. Hey, we're gonna make you feel loved in this room. 847. Y'all, it's been a great week. Mel, I just want to say while you are on stage, you know how I feel about you. We have a real relationship in real life, and you really are my sister. And sometimes I think that we were born of the same parents. That's how close I feel to you. I love you. I'm always here for you. I'm always going to celebrate you. And I just want to say thank you for making it. I told the team in the debrief, Mel, I said, let me explain something to y'all. Mel don't do this for people. She don't get up early in the morning and get to hanging out, in any kind of rah-rah fashion. That ain't her stilo. That ain't how she moves. And so know that I feel loved. I appreciate you for being up today, girl. I appreciate you for hanging out with us all week long. Let's go around the room. One thing that you got happening on or off the app this weekend. Let's go there, and then we'll get out of here. Come on, John.
To the movies with a group of ninth graders today, and she knows what we got to do. So that's the preparation. Is that phone tracking, Cherie? They would do that. And Saturday is a kick that day, and then Sunday going to go to worship, preparing for the Brooks' arrival this week. And,
hey man,
and the song.
Listen, we get ready to invade the ATL this week. Mel, if I could sneak and see your face some kind of way, I'd love to meet your husband. I've never met him face to face. We got to figure that out, Cherie. Mel is like, we got, and you've never met her face to face. So we got to figure that out. We're too close. Hey, let's go. Come on, Christine. What you got going on off the app this week?
Actually, I'm going to the stretch lab today, Coach.
Yay.
So I'm going to let you know my experience. Yeah,
I love it.
This morning, actually. So, yeah, and then I'm back in the studio getting these ladies together for the show. But, yeah, I'll just love on my family this weekend as well. Lena's coming in town, so I'm excited. She gets two spring breaks. This is spring break number 1, so she'll be in town. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Tell Lena we said, hey, hug her neck for us. I absolutely love it. Cherie's off camera. I think she may be answering the door. Sadie is coming today, so we may get a Sadie sighting.
She said be right back. So go to Mel B.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the back channel. Mel B, come on, talk to me, baby girl. What you got going on off the app this weekend?
Hey family, and I was laughing when you were like, I really don't get up this early for people that I don't love and appreciate.
Facts. Mel, listen, that was my offering, Mel. Thank you.
And Christine, you and we gotta connect offline. Girl, you said some things this week. So I am going to the crystal store with my 10-year-old because she wants to learn more about crystals. She asked for a crystal. I told her no, just because of various different things, which is only 10. But I did tell her that I'll take her to get educated on them. So we're going to a crystal store and we're just going to hang out for the day and have some good mommy-daughter time. And that's probably about it. And probably our normal Sunday routine is having breakfast as a family and kind of doing errands and stuff together.
I love it. I love it, Mel. I love it. Listen, for those of you guys who are in the room, real quick, put it in the chat. What do you have going on? Hey, Say. She is walking to Pop-Pop, y'all. Come on, Pooh. Come on. Come on. She don't want to walk. She's like, I don't know, Pop-Pop. Grandma put me on the spot. Y'all, she started walking on her at her first birthday party. I mean, walking. And now she got the sneakers on. Oh, my goodness, y'all, look at her. Cherie, that ain't right. She got her little sneakers on that she got. Yeah, you got to leave her alone. Because if you start, listen, look. Okay, anyway, we got to get ready to get out of here, obviously. But no, you can tell what we got happening this weekend. It's a Sadie day today, and I appreciate that. Jill Hahn says she's hosting an Army band concert this Sunday. Put it in the chat what you got happening this weekend. I want to shout you out on or off the ad. The 1 minute talks is a great idea. Sharon, I thought that was really, like, I'm going to figure out a way to kind of incorporate that into how we move, just because there's so many varying opinions. This room can get charged real fast. And I really want to give way to everybody. Coco, I appreciate you for pulling up. For everybody that came through today, thank you so very much. I'm sorry I got a little distracted there. Here, Christine, it's just you and me, at least on TV. Cherie doing all the things. But for all of you guys that are on stage, thank you. KBCN, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Y'all mean more to us than you ever will know. We'll see you back Monday. All next week, we're going to be talking about health, your business health, your personal health. We're going to give you some hacks, some ways to be able to level up and do some things. Christine, I did the whole show without coffee today. Yay for me.
Good
the
for you.
entire show
Yes.
without any help. How about that? And last night, I got my new CPAP machine yesterday. So I've had my old one, and it's served me well, but it's time to send that thing to the grave because it's antiquated. This new one, girl, this thing got you talking about smartphones, it's got an app to it that you can control. So I'm like, snap. Yeah, I woke up feeling different today, and I went to bed late. So yeah, I don't know what the heck I'm on. At the end of the day, here's what we know to be true. You can't get to any place of significance by yourself, guys. I need all of y'all on stage to help me out and tell the people why that is. In 3, 2, 1. It's because we all need some help. Y'all be good. We'll see you back next week. The room will close when the room does, or the room will close when the music does. Y'all know what I mean. Jennifer Jane left. I figure I play a little Brandy. That's her girl. She was here for a hot second. Y'all pray for Jen that her mouth gets all the way together, gets all healed up. She had some dental work. Y'all know that's never fun. Y'all be good. Have an amazing weekend. I appreciate you guys. I hear you singing over there, Sharon Shannon. I love it. I love it. Hey, bless. Hey. Uh-oh, John Schultz pulled up right at the end. Finish is strong. I love it. Let's go. Y'all do me a favor, network in the room. If you have to say hey to some people, maybe you got to get in somebody's back channel, get their information. Maybe y'all need to connect on some things. Let's make it happen. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, Nora. It's good. I love it. I love it. Let's go. Y'all be good. This room will close in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you next week.